All right, so today I'm just gonna ask you 7 questions. Shouldn't take too long, about probably like 15 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah. Why do you think people become engineers?
Uh, oh, is that just a question? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Um,
just
so
talk.
for me, I became an engineer just because of my surroundings of like how I grew up. Um, Most of my parents and relatives were all engineers. So then I just thought that when I grew up, I'd just become like them. For me, but then the reason why I'm interested in becoming an engineer was because of, I like to, I'm very, like, I used to play games a lot and I'm always on the computer. So I'm always browsing and I thought I was pretty tech savvy already at a younger age.
Yeah.
Um, because, a lot of people, they don't realize, like, you don't realize when you play games and things like that, like, um, you know a lot more about softwares and different things in the computer already than a lot of,
Yeah.
like, regular people, right? Like, if you play games, you will usually like to, like, look for things for free. You try to go like find cheater ways. Like you don't want to like buy stuff. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of the different downloads or softwares that you want to download, look for. So like you already know a lot more than other people.
Mhm.
So with that kind of background,
Yeah, I do
I
that
don't know. Do you
stuff.
play games?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have like a $2,200 computer that I built myself.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So the same with me. So like yeah, you're in high school now, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
in high school, I also had my own computer that I built, and like that is already a good start of like being your tech savvy like direction. And then that
Yeah.
just for me just made me like, oh, okay, I might as well do engineering because I already know a lot about these things.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I became an engineer.
Yeah, maybe my mom will show you my PC that I built. But what are like day-to-day task responsibilities that you do in your type of career, like your type of engineering?
So for me, before I switched to my new role, but um in my engineering year, so what I've done so far was a lot of, so I did electrical engineering. I studied electrical engineering in college.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that I do relates to analyzing circuitries and like building schematics. So for my job, my title is system engineer, but luckily I was in a engineering design team.
Yeah.
Uh, and all I done was when I first started till now was a lot of analysis, things that I haven't heard or done before in school, but I was able to incorporate like my fundamental knowledge of how a circuit works
Yeah.
into performing these different type of analysis. So I'll perform like stress analysis. Um,
Like just on like
uh,
softwares and stuff?
yeah. So the softwares that I use is Cadence. I don't know if you heard of that.
No, I'm not that
But I
much into
use a lot of
computers.
Cadence, using Cadence for PCB schematic capture and PCB editor. So I do a lot of design work.
Yeah.
Um, So that's my day to day when I was an engineer. I usually just do a lot of uh, taking schematic captures, uh, editing layouts. So, it's fun to me because doing layouts, like, you know how what a PCB is, and you know what they
A
look like, right?
PCB is
Yeah, a printed circuit board.
printed circuit board. I do
hmm
not.
So they're like the chips. Like, imagine the chips that's in your computer that you don't see, like in those, like, think of your CPU, but the inside of your CPU, it's full of little, like, the
Oh
chips,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
And then on top of those, they have a lot of different transistors, resistors, capacitors, whatever is on those things.
Yeah.
And then that's what I do. But I get to see like it zoomed up, right? And then it
Okay.
feels just like when I get to design these things and like do a layout for it, it feels like just a game. So if you just search up a quick like PCB layout on Google, that's kind of
See
what
that.
I did for a
Oh,
good amount
okay.
of time. So,
Yeah,
doing that.
I never knew like what all of it meant kind of.
hmm
But I've seen like these things where you can like use like something like this and like set up like a fan on it. I forgot what it was called. I think I have one of them.
Right. Yeah. So you can use these things to do anything, right? Like those Arduino boards.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so that's kind of what I do to my day to day was just doing these kind of layouts. And then to me, when doing these layouts, you kind of have to like place these components in the correct area and like know how to route them and then like
Yeah.
make them fit in a very tight and then like it feels like you're playing Tetris because you got to make everything
Yeah.
fit in a
Like
certain size.
I'm looking at my motherboard right now and I can kind of
Yeah.
see some of it.
So yeah, the motherboard is a PC is similar to a PCB, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So on an average, like what do you think like a first year engineer to like different years, like first to fifth to 10th year engineers make on like a annual basis
So for starting salary of a system engineer here at this company, the range is around 70 to 110, I believe.
for their first year? Wow.
Yeah.
So you
And
said
so this is
70,
dependent on,
70
yeah,
to
sorry.
100,000? No, that's fine.
Correct. And so that's one
That's
is
that's pretty good.
for, so you got to think about it in what kind of department you're in, right?
Yeah.
Um, you should know that a software and electrical engineer gets paid one of the highest
Yeah,
tiers.
because they have to like work like all of
Right.
like
It's a
the
lot more
system stuff. It's a lot more
technical, right?
challenging, yeah.
Hmm. And then I think the lower paying end of engineers are like industrial or civil engineers. I think they're on the lower end
Yeah.
of the range. Um, but it also really just depends on the company and what sector you're working in. If you're working, let's say, if you're an engineer, like a software or an electrical engineer in a tech company, which is very different than what me and your mom works at, right? We're working at
Oh,
a
you're not
defense
supposed to
company.
you're
Oh,
not yeah.
oh shoot.
Well, no,
You want to
like
restart the
no,
call?
no, no, no. Like obviously I don't know you, but
Hmm.
like yeah.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, no, I don't.
Like I've never
Mhm.
met you, but you do work
Right, right.
with my mom, so yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, so we at a defense company, we are usually get paid a certain amount higher than other kind of tech companies,
Yeah.
depending on what they are. But at a defense company like where we work at, it is it's more stable.
Yeah.
Um,
So
it
how
gives you
about
more
fifth?
security.
Yeah, so how
Hmm.
about the fifth year?
For fifth year, so are we going from first, second, third, all the way to like fifth?
No, we're just going straight to fifth.
Oh, okay. So from straight to fifth, the range, are you asking for the pay range still?
Yeah.
Oh, so the pay range still from there is I think it was 130, 140, no, it's 140 to 200.
Jeez.
Hmm.
That's crazy. This sounds like something I want to do, you know?
Yeah.
Then how about the 10th year? Let's see how much this jumps up.
I think the 10th year or average around is 200. Let me double check.
It doesn't have to be
Eh,
like accurate, but
Yeah. Or the ranges is, I think it just goes up from like 170 to 230.
in 70 so when from fifth year is 140 to 200, then 10th year
Hmm.
is 170 to what?
To like 240.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty nice.
Hmm. And this does depend on your title though.
Yeah.
So let's say
Vice
you could
president, you would be like
progressively,
vice
right?
president, you would be making like a million a year probably, maybe more.
Uh, Possibly.
No.
I'm not sure what they are
Yeah.
exactly, but I could fact check myself real quick.
That's
Um,
it's fine. You don't need
mhm.
to. But if you want to look at that while I ask you another question, sure.
Yeah, sure. Hmm.
Um, what are like educational like requirements or like and like vocational requirements? Like what's something like the vocational requirements is like how much vacation time are you like promised or like required, and then educational.
Mm, so for Northrop Grumman,
Yeah.
the you're at the I bel- so once you start at the company, you're allocated 40 hours of PTO.
40 hours annually?
Uh, Not annually, your very start. So
Yeah.
it's Northrop Grumman works by a cumulative type of PTO. We don't get a refresh of PTO every year.
Okay. So you earn it by working.
Right. So you earn a certain amount of hours, depending on your years of experience
But like
here,
what
every
like
paycheck.
the like a average engineer like a one that like a company that does refresh their vacational time, what do you think that
Hmm
would look like?
Uh, it's usually 2 to 3 weeks if your company pays you well. Yeah, it's up to usually these engineering companies, it's up to like 120 hours. So you usually get 2 weeks of PTO every
It's pretty
year.
good.
hmm
And then how about educational requirements?
To be an engineer?
Yes.
Okay, so for that one, we usually like to look for obviously a lot of companies they when they sort you through when you apply, they always have their system that they check to see if you have any qualification like if your
Like
education meets
degrees.
the same
Yeah.
degree, right?
So
So let's
what's
say if you're
like a
applying for
what's like the minimum degree that you need to become an engineer?
I wouldn't what do you mean by like you mean associate bachelor?
Yeah, yeah. So like a socialist,
Uh
bachelor,
I
master's.
believe you could get it with an associate, but it's a lot harder.
Okay, so
But so I guess the most minimum is bachelor's,
bachelor and
correct?
up is what you want.
Right.
And then what degree do you have?
I have electrical engineering back.
Like bachelor's, do you have like a master's in that or
Oh, bachelor degree.
and then are you gonna go back to get your master's or no?
Yeah, I'm currently studying my master's right now in system engineering.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. And then like what additional benefits do you think come with engineering? Like medical
Um,
coverage, retirement plans, paid
yeah,
vacations.
that's a good question.
Yeah.
So typically a lot of companies, for engineers, like a lot of engineering companies,
Yeah.
they usually provide pretty decent benefits.
So like how about you?
Usually
Do you get like
those,
medical coverage?
for us, so they provide those insurances. I'm not sure how it works exactly for other companies, but I do know that we do get provided these insurance like health insurances and things like that. But they do cost a small portion of your paycheck, like a small cost, like 40, $60 a paycheck, depending on the different type of insurance plans that you select. So they offer a variety of different type of health plans.
Okay,
And
that's
then they
interesting.
cover everything, including like dental, vision. I think those are some of the basic ones that they cover. And
That's
also,
pretty
there's a
good.
whole different coverage of like, disability and things like that. But I don't know, Jim. I didn't look into it because I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
But I'm
So
sure they do cover those.
yeah. And what if you had to like start over again in like the same field, like engineering?
Mhm.
What do you think you would do differently?
Mm,
Like obstacles, mistakes that you've made. What do you think you would
yeah.
do differently?
So, I guess I can start with. Are you talking about like in the work field or like starting from college? Like, how would you do it differently to now
Yeah,
to
probably
get
the
you a
in the
job?
same like work field. So like problems you've
Okay.
experienced the most, or like things that I should be aware of.
So one thing I would say once you start working is really a lot of people tend to have the fear of asking questions or asking
Yeah,
for help because you might think that you're coming in with an expectation of people expects you to know everything. Um, but that in reality, that's not really true. A lot of the things that you're going to learn from school, depending on what major you study, it's going to be most of it is you're going to be taking away the fundamentals of that those lessons. And then
yeah,
what you do at work is going to be a lot of on hand, like you're going to be learning on the job type of thing. So a lot of people when they when you join their team, they're not going to expect you to do a lot of things like or not expect you to know a lot of things right away.
Yeah.
They may throw you into like the pit full of like assignments and tasks, but then they expect you to be able to take it on and ask questions when you need help. So there, and then that's the nice thing about this company at least is that everyone here will always be open to help you if you don't know what like how to do something or like you're confused, which is a really nice part of Northrop Grumman.
It sounds really nice. And can you explain how you approach problem solving when you're like facing a new engineering challenge or
Yeah.
like a new like task that you've been set upon by like your boss?
So for me, with my previous manager, um, I was always given a lot of tasks like straight off from the like I was thrown into the task like without
Yeah.
knowing any type of background regarding it. So when I first started, I was just thrown into doing analysis, like performing stress analysis on over 20 boards. And
Yeah.
I had no idea what any of these things did, but I just knew what my assignment was. So doing so, there was a lot of questions I had, and like I guess the way I approached my critical like thinking and solving skills was I I always tried to search it up first and then use what I knew on how to approach the problem. Um, but like I said earlier, if you have questions, feel free to ask it. That's the probably the one of the biggest things that I give as an advice is to always ask questions when you have it. Like solve like try to solve it first, but don't take too much of your time trying to figure out the problem alone. Um, because there's always going to be someone else on your team or that you may know that you work with that just has the answer right away. Uh, and I'll recommend just using your like consider them your resources, right, to help you understand or like do things better. And then the way I work is I'll understand something better the moment I do something and then like I can see how it's done.
Yeah.
I can't just learn by just watching someone or like watching and then taking notes or something. Like I actually do it in order for me to learn it. So with that, if they can show me and then I can do a practice and like actually do it with them, then I can like have a way better understanding of how to do it on my own.
Yeah. That's a really good explanation, actually. I like that. So thank you for your time. That is all the questions I needed to ask you. So thank you for doing this.